What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Excuse the hair. I just woke up, and honestly, when a new pot card gets dropped, the hair can wait. Also, I've got my sexy orange sweatpants on, so, you know, it's a good day. All right, that's all that means, right? Anyway, new pot card, like, not joking around. This is huge news. Also, I fucking called it, man. I fucking called it when we got the Blazing Vortex news and it said we were getting a retrain of a classic Yu-Gi-Oh card. I literally said that could be a new pot card. People said it's cross out designator. That could be a new pot card. And look at this. It's a motherfucking new pot card, man. Ugh. Okay. Got that out of the way. Got my gloating out. Let's get into this card. We have Pot of Disparity. He's just as creepy as they've always been. Look at him there, creepy side. The pot was a generosity on the other side. Okay, makes sense. It's a normal spell, obviously, and you can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn, and you cannot draw any cards with card effects during the turn you activate this card. Okay, keep that in mind. His effect reads, banish 3 or 6 cards from your extra deck face down. Not random, keep that in mind, not like Extravagance. Same amount as Extravagance, just not random, you get to pick. Excavate that same number of cards from the top of your deck, add one of them to your hand, and place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolve, have any battle damage your opponent takes. Okay. So, what do we have here? Essentially, you got to keep in mind this is like a weird card that kind of crosses between Extravagance and, I guess, Pot of Duality. Because you're not actually drawing, you're excavating and then picking one card, kind of like Duality, but you can excavate up to 6 with this card. It doesn't have a restriction on not being able to special summon it all on the turn or anything like that. So I think it's an interesting card. Here's the biggest downside. The biggest downside is that you cannot draw any cards the entire turn you activate it. So if you're playing this, it probably means you can't play Extravagance. You can't play Desires. You probably shouldn't play Upstart. I guess technically you could, but if you Upstart into this card, or if you have Upstart in your hand with this card, it's not that good, not very good at all, or a strategy that inherently by itself wants to draw cards. And that's the biggest downside, I think, for this card, because one of the things I was thinking about is I was like, this could just replace Duality in some decks. Like if you went Extravagance into this card, because if you're playing Extravagance, there's a good chance you're playing it in a deck that doesn't need the extra deck at all anyway. So banish 6 there, rip this card off the top, activate this, banish another 6, and then you get to look 6 more cards deep, look at your hand, be like, what am I missing? And this is the perfect card. And you got 6 cards deep to look. That's really, really good. You're essentially drawing another going second hand and just taking the best card out of it. And as far as the other stuff goes, it's obviously a hard once return. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2020. Pot cards in 2020 got to be hard once returns. Halves battle damage your opponent takes. That's not the biggest deal. The only deal that really specifically matters in is I was looking at this card. I was like, wow, this is kind of amazing in Grand Maju. Well, is it? Is it if it halves battle damage? Because, well, not just battle damage, any damage, period. Because in Grand Maju, this card may even be better than Extravagance. Maybe not better than Desires, but it does just dig you 6 cards deep if you're just specifically already looking for Grand Maju. I mean, this is going to get you 2,400 more attack on him. If you had already banished cards, obviously he'd already be even further up there. And if you grabbed him, you'd be sitting there like, oh, well, cool. I got to just dig for him. I found him. But now you can't. Now you only deal half as much damage, which means you're probably not going to be able to OTK your opponent like you otherwise would have. So that was almost one of the premier strategies I was looking at this card for. There are other ones for sure, because there are decks like, I think Generator is a good example, where you look at Generator and you're like, drawing cards in Generator is not always great because you're forced to play so many bricks. You have 7. You're probably playing like 7 of the Generator boss monsters, all bricks. If you draw extra copies of the field spell or the traps that get you to the field spell, they're kind of a little bit redundant. They're kind of bricks. Well, this card just says look at the top 6 and just pick the one you want the most out of all the cards left in those 6 cards. So if you looked at the top 3 and there was like 3 of your bricks that are still in the deck, you're just like, okay, give me that card. That's a card I know I'll make good use of. It's not a +1. It is a 1-for-1, but it's a targeted 1-for-1, a very targeted. 1 out of 6. And as far as the banish effect goes, like we've seen this, if people will play Extravagance, which is random, people will definitely play this card, because this card is just is you get to choose. It's not random on the extra deck banishing. So if you don't even need to play a deck that doesn't use the extra deck at all. You would just be playing an extra deck that just like only uses 1 or 2 cards regularly, and the other cards are just kind of filler. Banish all the ones you don't care about, and you still get to go in. I mean, something like Trap Tricks. If they're playing if you normally just play a control strategy on Sarah, boom, leave 1 or 2 Sarah, banish 6 other cards. Who cares? Dig deeper, void, like try to get away from the traps, or try and find like a monster or something you're looking for, whatever you need, and keep going. It's great for side decking too. That's the other thing I want to throw out there. There's so many things to throw out there with this card. There's so many like interesting ways that this card functions. Side decking, not just drawing 2 to draw into your side deck. Like drawing your side deck is still good. This card says, look, 6 cards deep. This is almost like going second, a must negate card, and that's actually pretty interesting to note, because we know how powerful some of these side deck cards are in 2020. What if you're just like looking for a Dark Ruler no more? Your opponent cannot let you look 6 cards deeper for a Dark Ruler no more, because you know what? That means their board's probably getting broken. What if you're looking for Sphere Mode? Well, once you add it, they're kind of screwed. They're just like, oh, shit. What do I do now? He's just going to Sphere Mode me now and break my whole board. Like, seriously. That's actually really, really nice to consider. So, overall, do I think this card is better than Extravagance, Desires? I guess those are the 2 big ones we see in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Unfortunately, I don't think it power creeps Duality, because I don't know if people are going to play Extravagance plus this. You know what I mean? Like, because if you Extravagance into this you can't activate. And if you activate this, obviously you missed your chance to activate Extravagance. That's why I really wish this effect said you cannot draw any cards with card effects for the rest of this turn, not the entire turn, during the entire turn. That way you could Extravagance first, draw into this card, and then activate this card. This would just be the new Duality, but it is what it is. I don't want to complain too much. I still think it's a pretty good card. I still think it has a lot of potential. It just depends on the kind of strategy you're playing, right? Like some decks just play a pile of good cards and they just want the +1, right? So in that situation, Extravagance, Desires, those decks are just better. If you're playing a deck that just has like a lot of Haymakers, or also post-siding, maybe you just look at your deck and you're just like, I just need to see my 1 Haymaker card. Like, that's insane, and this is an absolute must negate for my opponent, because if I find my going second like Haymaker card, they just lose the duel. They know that. I know that. Pretty good, right? Not even just going second, but also going first. I mean, this card just says excavate and look for Imperial Order. Look for these 1-ofs, because it'll become a little bit easier to find. You don't just have to open them in your 5-card hand. Now you just need to have it in the top 11 cards of your deck. That pretty significantly increases your chances of finding these disgusting 1-of side deck cards, or 3-ofs, God forbid, are way, way easy to find with this card. So that's going to do it from here. I don't want to go too long on one card, but this seems like a really cool card. Something's going on with my camera. I think its settings are weird. It keeps trying to like readjust, but I keep seeing it. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this? Anyway, whatever. I'm not re-recording this video. Thank you so much for watching this. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from me, and let me know in the comment section down below. I really think this card has a lot of potential. Obviously, it has downsides, but it also has some pretty nasty upsides. So let me know in the comment section down below how good you think this card is and how much potential you think it has in our metagame. This is 100% a Chase Seeker rare out of Blazing Vortex. 100%. 100%. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Sorry about the bedhead. Sorry about the orange pants. Thanks. I love you. Peace.